Hi, everybody. So today I have two special guests, and they're special because they're actually a team. So it's the first time that I have a team that works together, and they're married. So they have everything in common. They're a team in every sense of the way. I started following Pierre Yves. Trying my best.
Perfect pronunciation.
Thank you so much. And now I'm actually getting to know Alice for the first time because we have never even exchanged any messages. So this is a first for both of us. So thank you so much, you guys, for being here. And because I don't really know much about you, but I really want to know about you guys. So I would just ask you to introduce yourselves, maybe starting with Alice, since it's the first time that we meet.
Mm-hmm. So,
Okay.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.
So we are husband and wife, and we are both technical translator. And it all started in Germany. Big surprise.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get into more details.
I'm sure.
But wait, first,
just introduce yourself briefly.
Big important detail is that I am French and she's Italian.
Yeah, right, that's
important. And at first, when we met, we didn't speak a word of the other person's language. Like I didn't speak Italian.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we spoke German at first. Yeah.
Oh, so that was the language that you had in common, was German.
Yeah, because at that time, Pierre was working as an engineer at Bosch in Germany.
You were.
Yes, I was working as an engineer.
I was studying foreign languages for publishing, and I was doing an Erasmus semester in Germany in the same town as him.
Exactly.
In the Stuttgart area.
Exactly.
So when we met, we started to speak German.
Yeah,
I didn't want to speak English because I was there for my German. So.
And there were no exceptions.
we could have taken the easy route and just switched to English, but we were like we want to. Yeah, she made a point like to speak German, and I agreed with her because for living in Germany, one of my purpose was to learn German, and not to fall into the expat trap of like building a bubble of people who speak the same language as yours. Because I had many French colleagues where I worked who didn't really bother learning German because speaking English at the workplace was enough. So yeah. We spoke German at first, but there were like a lot of funny situations, because since French and Italian are so much more similar, anytime I didn't know a German word, I would use a German word that she didn't understand. I would just switch to French, use the French word instead, and she would understand instantly, and vice versa. It was much easier. Like I could literally start speaking French to her slowly, and she would understand most of it, and vice versa.
It was the same with Italian.
Yeah, yeah. Like French and Italian, they don't sound the same, but they're very similar, especially when you see both of them written. Like once you understand
Latin languages.
Yeah, exactly, like Portuguese,
Yes, exactly.
I think we spoke German for
about a month.
Yeah.
For about a month. Yeah, I had Italian like on my at the top of my bucket list for a while now, and I wouldn't say like I didn't know anything about Italian. I had some like I did know like a few words, and I really started right away studying it when we met, and then after trying to speak German, trying to become fluent in German, which was not an easy task, for 3 years. Switching to Italian was really like how do you say, a breath of fresh air,
a breath of fresh air.
Exactly, a breath of fresh air, exactly. It was much easier and a lot more fun.
And I think it was quite the same for me for French, because it was the first time I was learning a language just for me, not for university, not for the future, for a job, just for me and for him, for our couple, because it was important for us even to speak with our families. And so it was very...
So speaking of university, you were in Germany, but you had started your studies in Italy, right?
Yeah, in Verona.
So were you? Oh, I've been there.
Oh,
Yes.
do you plan on going back there?
You
Yeah, I
have to
really
come and
enjoyed
visit
it.
us.
I had a lot of
Yeah,
fun. So
because we live there actually.
Ah.
We just bought we just bought an apartment like literally last year.
Well, then it's much easier for me. I can go.
Well, if you want to come,
Well, don't say it again.
our
So
pleasure.
what was the what was the idea with your studies in Verona? Were you're not studying translation per se, right, Alice?
No, just at first just foreign languages,
Mm-hmm.
and then
for publishing.
for publishing,
Yeah.
because I love books and reading. And then after we met, I had to come back for 1 year. I had nearly 1 year left, and Pierre decided to change his career, and so I wanted to do the same, and I did a master in specialized translation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started to work as a translator as
So
well.
the thing is, you, Alice, or Alice, if I have to say it in English, I'm trying my best in my Italian. So you studied languages, not thinking about translation. And when you guys met, he was already,
Exactly.
Pierre was already working as an engineer at Bosch, and he had already done his studies also in engineering, right? So you were far and away from anything related to translation in your background before you guys actually met. And so you went back to Italy, you finished your studies, and were you, Pierre, still in Germany working as an engineer, or did you come back to France too? Or did you go to Italy with her?
I went straight to Italy actually. So my job in Germany, I mean, it was it was a good job, but I mean it was starting to get a bit repetitive, you know, since Bosch is a huge company, and I wanted to do something like more like language related, because I have always been passionate about languages, and it kept growing, you know.
I know.
So yeah, and so I don't know how well. Reading about stuff about languages, I came across, you know, this I came across the translation business, you know, and this was not the first time. Like I was reading like a blog that which is called, I guess, Fluent in 3 Months, from Benny Lewis, who's a polyglot, an Irish polyglot, and he's also very passionate about languages. And at some point, he mentioned that he started a career in freelance translation as well. You know, because of the freedom it gives you. Like so it gives you both the opportunity to work with foreign languages and to be like completely free, you know, like you work for yourself because you're a freelancer,
where you want.
And from wherever you want. That was like the basic requirement. I didn't want to be grounded to like any place, you know. So
so you
yeah,
were
that's
the
how
one who were thinking about this career shift, and then you brought her along.
I was influenced.
Exactly. I was thinking,
studying languages.
I was already thinking about this career change when we met, and when, I mean, she kind of was the catalyzer, you know, because when we met, she only had 1 month left in Germany, because you know it's an Erasmus semester, so after 6 months you have to go back. So for me, it was like a catalyzer. So a year after, I quit my job and I started right away my career as a freelance translator. And it's also something that you can do, like you can also be specialized. That's what the community insisted upon. Like they all say that you have to be specialized. So for me, my specialization was kind of natural, you know, since I'm an engineer. So it was so I'm specialized. I'm naturally specialized in engineering and technology, which brings me like having this expertise is a huge plus. You know, it gives me the ability to understand very complex technical texts. And yeah, that's it. So I quit my job. I left Germany and I went to live. I moved in. So for like a bit less than a year, like 10 months, 10 months. We lived like apart, like distantly. So I kept going back and forth with to see her, like to keep seeing each other, you know. And then after a year, we finally how do you say
moved in together.
We moved in together. I moved into her apartment
in
directly.
Italy.
Yeah, in Italy.
In Verona.
So
we finally
were you already Alice looking for other jobs, or you immediately thought, okay, I'm going to finish this degree and I'm going to go into this translation thing too? Oh, so there was no publishing.
And so no publishing.
And this was how long ago when you guys decided to just
2000 I started in 2015. She started in 2017 because she had to finish her studies first,
and then I did the master.
Yeah, and she did a master in translation. In the meantime, we got married. Yeah,
I can see the photo behind you.
Exactly. Exactly. That was taken the day of the exactly. So that was in 2017. Yeah. And, so she finished her studies and then switched to which is something that you can. It's kind of a natural transition. It's actually more of a natural transition for her. Like there are many people who study like foreign languages for other things, like for publishing or for tourism. Actually, they're both studied together. You know, like people who study foreign languages for tourism and for publishing, they are part of the same class, and they have separate classes, you know, for their own specializations. And then from there, you can switch to pretty easily switch to translation, you know, because it's kind of part of the same. How do you say general language curriculum, you know, how do you say, like for like in university, you know.
So weren't you like sorry that you never even tried to be in the publishing, or it never crossed your mind again?
No, because we still have this idea of working together and travel and working together also. Now, for example, we are at my parents' house.
Yeah, we're not at Verona.
So we are here, can say,
semi-vacation. Yeah, exactly. We can call it workation.
Workation, exactly.
Workation. We can work here. We can work from Verona. We can work from
Nice, my parents' house.
So that's what we love. We love this.
Yeah, the possibility to be able to work from anywhere.
So did you establish the business in Italy, or did you do it in France, since you were in Italy at that period, I suppose?
Yeah, we started in France.
In France,
because it was more easy, because in Italy it's complicated.
Yeah, it's a bit more it's kind of a disaster when it comes to bureaucracy, you know, like
so we spend a lot of time.
it's not that good in France as well.
No, it's better.
It's a bit better. It depends what we're talking about, but it's kind of easier to start a business in France. Yeah. Less paperwork. There's less paperwork.
We started in France, but now we are in Italy.
Yeah, since we bought an apartment, because before that we were like renting, and since we bought an apartment, we switched everything over to Italy. Yeah. So
you guys just thought about, you know, I'm going to. So even before you worked together, Pierre was establishing himself as now a specialized technical translator. And what happened? So you quit your job, you went to Italy, all those personal things. But what about the translation business? How did that happen? Because you quit your job, and then
did a lot of research.
Yeah, I did a lot of research. It was mostly self-taught. I bought some book and some online online webinars and stuff like that, you know, I mostly started with agencies, you know, since so first I did a language certificate exam, like for both English and Italian. So I passed the C2 in both French and in both English and Italian, because I translate from English and Italian to French. And while Alice, she deals with the other company. Exactly. Even though
I didn't hear you, Alice. You
okay,
said, and then Alice deals with
from English and French to Italian.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah, you mostly translate to your native language.
Yes.
Yeah. You very rarely do it the other way around, or you would need to have it reviewed by a native speaker at least. Yeah.
So then you just started working with agencies. You started sending cold emails.
Yeah, exactly. So I set up a CV, like a more translation-oriented CV. I tried to put like my experience as an engineer at the forefront for when it comes to to technical translation, and I contacted agencies. And after a while, I started receiving work, and
so how were those first
how
results? Were they European companies, Italian companies? Did you have a preference? Did you try harder at some sort of types of companies, or did you go straight away to agencies and then you waited for things to happen? Did you do a lot of tests? How did it happen in the beginning?
I did some tests, not many of them, like maybe just a couple of them. I simply, agencies generally have those online forms to apply, because it's something they do all the time. So I just kept filling out forms, or if it's an agency that doesn't have a form, I simply contacted them, sending them my CV, that stuff that's people translators usually do when they do marketing. So that's it. After contacting agencies, after a while they started sending me work one after another. And
I think that the fact that you are an engineer has a lot too.
Yeah,
it's not easy to find a translator with really a technical background, an engineering background.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that having an expertise, having like actually worked in a certain field, and having studied this specific field at university, and having worked at this field, I think it's a huge plus. It's a huge advantage. It gives you a level of comprehension that you cannot reach otherwise, like having an actual hands-on experience. You know what the words really mean. You know what you can read really between the lines. You know what happens. You know what's behind the simple words that you read. So it gives you a deep level of comprehension. That's and that's definitely a major plus. So so yeah, I try to stick to mostly technical stuff, even though agencies also send you more like general sort of work, which I'll also accepted, is I mean, it was still something that I could do. And that's how I built experience, and it was at first it was a lot harder than I expected. But it was it was a really slow process at first, and then once I got used to it, once I understood, because at first you have sometimes you receive a review of your work, so that's how I improved. That's one of the way I used to improve. I used the various reviews that I received to improve, and then I just kept how do you say, following webinars and online courses,
doing your
like
CPA, right? Your
exactly. Exactly.
So then you were already pretty established, let's say that 2 years, something like that, when Alice joined you, right? So how was this process of I know she was around you already, and you guys already probably discussed things at that time, but when she actually finished, right, I guess inevitable. But when she finished her studies, then what happened? How did she join, the whole translation activity? Because you now had a new target language to offer with, another native person who had a different background. So how did you, Alice, merged? This is a good word. How did you merge into what was already happening?
yeah, I think I did quite the same thing as
Yeah.
him, but we started to focus on our unique selling point, also the fact that I'm Italian and he's French, and we translate from French to Italian and from Italian to French. So the clients has a native person both in the target language and
the source language.
the source language.
Yeah.
So this was our unique selling point. We focus
unique
on
benefit.
that,
Yeah, we mostly focused on this, the fact that Italian to French and French to Italian was like our strongest pair, because we see that it helps us a lot, because anytime I have a question, like there's something that is a bit unclear or ambiguous in Italian, I ask her first, and vice versa. It works also from French to Italian. She asks me first, and so either I have the answer I explained to her, or either I tell her, okay, no, this is totally ambiguous, I don't understand it myself. So even I, as a French native speaker, if even I'm unable to understand this, that's because there's a problem with the source, and then we forward the question to the client directly. So this is a huge plus, I guess, because usually people, they don't have a native speaker at hand to ask those sort of questions. So this makes things a lot easier.
Like also to speak their language.
Oh yes.
When we have a French client, generally he speaks with Pierre, and Italian client speak with me, and they prefer that.
they prefer interacting with someone with a native speaker of their language. They feel more at ease this way. Communication is smoother, generally. So dealing
in that case,
with
sorry, Alice then didn't really go the same route of looking for work from the same perspective, right? Because you had already somewhat done that part of the job, and then you simply started presenting her as part of your business. Is that how it happened?
Well, yes and no. We still had to do like a lot of work, like a lot of prospecting, contacting agencies, one after another, filling those forms.
Don't care that we work together. Don't care a lot that we work together.
I mean, not many of them do. It's in such cases, I did recommend her to some of the project managers I was working with, but either they didn't. So in such case, it did bring some work. But not all the time, because sometimes the project manager I was collaborating with wouldn't handle projects in her language combinations. So
we can say that with agencies we keep things more separated. While with end clients we are always
we are one and the same, because the unique benefits that we provide are a lot more interesting from a direct client standpoint than from an agency standpoint.
So we did our website, all our LinkedIn product presentation, and we always speak about each other. So Zana, our brand, what we do together.
Exactly. That, like, the big change was like the development of our brand, because when I was working alone, I didn't really have a brand, and I didn't even have a website. I just barely had like a profile on Pros and on LinkedIn. And I wasn't really active on LinkedIn as well, because I simply, I went like the easy route, like of contacting many agencies and receiving work from them. But once Alice got into the mix, we started creating and building our brand. So we got ourselves a brand name, a logo. We developed a website. It's exactly all those stuff.
We did a lot of marketing.
Yeah. And only recently we started actively posting on LinkedIn. Which is probably why we this year, this particular, we've already been, including this one, interviewed like 3 times, like which is something that's it's a first for us. Like we hadn't been interviewed before this year, so probably because we started being active on LinkedIn.
Yes, I
Mhm.
guess that's where everybody gets their inspiration for guests these days.
Yeah.
Probably.
At
Yeah.
least I guess I do it probably 99% of the time. So I do understand. And it's
Mhm.
great because it's like where we have some sort of a community, let's call it
Yeah,
that,
that's
where,
nice,
you know,
really.
people can benefit the most from the content of the conversations. So that's why I think it's a win-win situation. And usually I hear someone talking somewhere else and I say, oh, wow, I'd love to ask my own questions. And then I do it. So I guess, you know, I'm sure that more people will invite you to be present in other conversations because that's the way it is.
Sorry.
Technical problems?
There's a yeah.
Okay.
The computer was not charging, so
Aha.
we might have. Okay,
Yeah, no.
that's fixed now. That's fixed. Yeah, because otherwise we might have been cut off because the battery was running out. You know how those
Ooh.
you know how those calls they tend to empty the battery pretty fast.
Yeah, but here anything can happen. Like I told you, we keep everything on because I think it's very interesting. And it's like I tried, not try, like I told you, I don't try, but I keep it conversational because that's what we're doing. We're having a conversation. So these days that you have already been in the market for, you know, a good 7 years or so. So
Yeah.
how do you feel that, well, you made the choice, especially Pierre, because you were already in the working market. So you were already on the market, I guess. So how do you feel about this 7-year path that you have followed? How do you feel about that decision that led you into this more language-oriented life that you, I know, enjoy because you seem to enjoy languages a lot? But how do you feel about that? Do you feel like it was the perfect choice for you? Do you feel at ease with your own choices?
I think overall we feel like it's the right choice. We always have, you know, doubts every now and then. It's which is pretty normal when you're a freelancer, but because being a freelancer is always full of uncertainties. But we deep down we know that we made the right choice because it gives us the possibility to always be together because you know it's yeah we just can't get enough of each other, so being able to work together is a true blessing for us because so just to give you an idea of our setting back at home in Verona, we have how do you say our desk, we work on the same desk. It's like a 2 meters long desk, and but we literally work one next to the other, and yeah, this is great, you know, because I mean it's much less lonely than working solo as a freelancer. And
I also think we like the idea of having our business and work just for us, us, and not for another person or another company.
Yeah, that's one of the things we like the most, like having our own business and being able to work next to each other, you know. Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah,
So
it is.
these days when people ask you, I know how it is for me when people ask me what I do, and it's like we do language things and a lot of people don't understand most of the words that we use to describe our work or our job. So how do you guys, both of you, and so it's very funny that it's the both of you, deal with this whole situation when people ask you, so what do you guys do, when people meet you in social settings, not necessarily professional, because then everybody knows what we're talking about, but in, you know, gatherings and family reunions and all of that, like the both of you, because I know how easy it is to have someone as a target. It's like, then you have to use words that are not really the words you want to use, but for people to understand and all of that. So how is it for you guys when you go everywhere? You know, you are yourselves, your own business, your own couple, your own everything. So how does that go when you have to talk about it?
We try not to say that we are just translator. First thing.
Yeah, because I mean, well, we probably we did at first because, you know, well, translation
it's
is
a simple answer. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm a translator.
Yep.
And that's it. So I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's easy for people to understand, but we know what happens behind the curtains. So we try to give a bit more details now. Like we do, like we provide language services like translation and localization
For
in
tech
for tech and
Localization, how does that go with family?
But I think it's nice to use we can say big words or strange words for them, because when we say we are just translators, people think it's just an easy job. You are just a translators, and no, that's not true.
Well, maybe
so we like to say something.
You're business owners,
complex,
really.
but it's
exactly. So which involves tons of other skills. You know, like marketing is probably the thing we like. It takes us a lot of time. You know, it's besides just translating, it's something that it takes up, like, I wouldn't say it takes up like most of our time, but a huge chunk of it actually. So. So yeah, we try to describe what we do. Like we try to give more detail, not just say that we're translators. Like we say what we mostly focus on who we do it for, like our type of clients. Like we provide language services such as translation for like industrial companies, like companies operating in the fields of engineering and technology, stuff like that. You know, so having so I mean, for people who don't know me, I said that I'm an engineer. So, and then I go on to explain that why being an engineer provides me with the necessary expertise to provide language services for those companies. Why it's essential, basically, and yeah, and then we go on to. If people are interested, we go on to describe how our how we deal with our days, you know, how we deal with our business, what we do, because as I said, you know, as I said, people don't necessarily know what it involves being like mostly being an online freelancer. Like when you're an online freelancer, you have to take care of your online presence. You know, you have to how would you say, become popular? Well, not really, but you have to put yourself out there, you know, because people are not going to find, they're not going to find you, you know. You don't have like a shop like on a busy street where people that can just stop, you know, and you need to put yourself out there to show to your clients that you exist, you know, either by contacting them directly or taking care of your online presence, which in both case it takes a lot of time, you know. And this is the sort of stuff. And you know, we were talking about continuing a CPD before, and I would say that we followed a lot of webinars in marketing, you know, in online marketing and marketing for like freelancers, like not just for freelance translators, but for freelancers in general, because this is definitely one of the biggest aspect of our profession, you know, marketing activities.
Yeah. So yeah, I know that you guys
people don't find you.
Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't have found you. So
exactly. And we wouldn't be here if we hadn't taken care of marketing. Yeah.
Exactly. It's true. It's just as essential as everything else or more right now. It's just that other people don't have the slightest idea on what it entails. And I know having those conversations about, but where are you working? Yes. But doing what? You know, posting or I know, blah, blah, blah. It's not easy sometimes. But since you do all of your working activities together, and I was telling you that my goal in life is not to know when I'm working or not working and all of that. But still, of course, there are moments in life where you have to know that you're not working, right? You're doing something else. Even if I'm always thinking about the same stuff anyway, I'm boring like that. I'm addicted, I guess. But so what happens when you're not at your desk taking care of your business, because that's what you do. You don't do translation, you don't do this, you don't do that. You do business, right? You do business stuff. So what do you do when you're not doing that? And how do you keep yourselves sane? We have to tackle this subject. When you are together the whole day, you're working together the whole day, you're staying together the whole day, you're traveling together the whole day. So is there room for activities with, you know, other people, going to the gym, those things? Do you include that in your life, or is something you don't even think about and everything is just, you know, in your desk? Everything happens at your desk.
I mean, seeing people, it's important. So try to see some friends or go out take an aperitivo, do something.
Yeah, it's very important to take care of our social life because since we don't have colleagues, you know, it's
For this reason now we are at my parents' house, and then we will travel.
We'll go to Nice
Nice,
and spend a week at our parents' house. So yeah, taking care of our social life and seeing our families often is something very important.
Yeah, I think it's the most important thing. We have to see other people.
Exactly.
Okay, we are together every day, every time.
Yeah, we're never alone technically because
it's good. It's very positive, but we have also to see
other people. Yeah. So besides that, so I mean, as soon as we like to answer directly the question you asked, as soon as we, how do you say that we leave our desk, we don't have too much trouble just to stop talking about work. You know, we switch like to private life. So this happens mostly when we're in the kitchen, when we make because you know, living in Italy, like the cooking is like one of our it's a big pillar in our it's one of the big pillar in our lives. You know, it's very important. So we're passionate about cooking, and this is something we do, both of us do. You know, so when we're cooking and eating, it's something like we don't talk about work during those moments. Those moments are like sacred. You know, no work when eating.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, because as I say, food is sacred in Italy. It's really something that you don't want to spoil. Like the whole, it's a whole experience. You know,
we try not to speak about work when we eat or during the weekend, and
or maybe when we, you know, sometimes we just since we can manage our time during the day however we want. Often we just go out for a walk since we live close to the city center. So we just go for a walk like for half an hour. And during that time lapse, we don't talk about work, or I don't know. We do a bit of fitness as well. So I mean, when you're doing when you do a physical activity, you cannot really talk, you know. So. And
it works well when we are stressed for our job. And we decided also to live near the center of the city for this reason as well, because we want to, you know, take a break, even 5 minutes, 10 minutes, go outside.
Exactly.
Having this possibility of okay, I have just 20 minutes. It's enough. I can go outside.
Exactly. Taking a walk outside, especially in Verona, you know, because it's a beautiful city. It's really a beautiful city. I mean, I've lived in many cities in my life, and Verona is definitely my favorite because
I can understand that. I was there with Juliet's book too.
Exactly. So you've seen it yourself. It's a beautiful city. So I would recommend anyone listening to us to go visit it. So because it's definitely worth it. It's not too big. It's not too small.
We were setting it at opera at the Colosseum at the time that I was there. And we could visit, but the opera was still being set up, which is something that I absolutely love. So it was very exciting, actually. I loved it. I thought it was, then I went off to other places, but I definitely enjoyed it. And I always mention it when I talk about my 4 or 5 Italian cities, because it was the first one. I arrived and went straight to Verona.
Okay.
So that was the very first time I was in Italy, and that was really nice. And I really enjoyed it. And the fact that it's not a huge city, but it's still super busy, super full of life, and there's people, you know, there's tourists,
and it's pretty affordable. You know, it's also pretty.
I ate pizza, and it was pretty easy to just go around and eat some food on the street, and everything is very familiar. I think it's just very, very nice. So I really thought it was, from all the cities, the more balanced, but also the smallest one. After that, I went to Venice, which I absolutely loved too. I never expected to be this in love with Venice.
Venice is wonderful.
Venice is pretty special. It's a unique city.
Well, it's just you cannot compare it to anything else. But I guess Verona is obviously not one of those, you know, huge cities with lots of things to do, blah blah blah. But it has enough, definitely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very happy, and
Yeah.
the markets outside and all of that was happening while I was there, and it was really, really nice. And I, I always talk about it when I talk about my Italy visits, but it was really nice. So I understand what you're saying. I can only imagine living in a place like that and not being in, always in a rush to get somewhere because you have everything right there. And I guess we definitely need that more and more. I mean, I lived in cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles and all of that, but they're very different from our European cities. And I also didn't feel, especially in Los Angeles, that it was super busy and that all those things were happening, because people have that impression, but I didn't feel that way. But
you're kind of car dependent when you
intense.
live in cities like that. You kind of you're car dependent. Like I lived in Los Angeles as well.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
But I am a car dependent person anyway. But I enjoy driving a lot, and I can be in traffic for 4 or 5 hours. It's not a problem.
Oh,
okay. We like
if I have
well,
music.
That's great. That's great if you love driving so much. Yeah, we don't really enjoy. I mean, it's not that we don't enjoy it.
It's another philosophy.
Yeah,
we love the idea of going out without taking the car.
Yeah, like we almost 100% like car independent. Like we just use it for like grocery shopping, and that's it.
When we travel.
Or when when we travel. But
we don't like the idea of taking the car for
going to the city center, because we have a lot of friends who have to do that. Like every time they need to go downtown, they have to get to get their car, because otherwise it would be too far. Or they could use their bike, but it's still a long way. So whereas for us, like in 7 minutes we can reach like one of the two major places in Verona, like two major squares. There's like if you remember, there's Piazza Erbe and Piazza Bra. So
if I remember, I don't.
Okay, Piazza Bra is the one with the arena, and then there's Piazza Erbe with
what the market is, I suppose.
Exactly. So we're 7 minutes by foot from Piazza Erbe, and this is great. And it's not like it's getting there. We go through very pretty streets, because we go through the city center pretty much. So it's always beautiful, going through those historical streets, with
every time we need a break, we go out.
Yeah, I understand. I'm in the similar situation. It's not it's not as exciting as that, but still I have a castle right at my back, so it's not too bad.
Oh, that's great. Where do you live, by the way?
I live in this place called Leiria, which is about 150 kilometers north of Lisbon. So it's exactly it's called the middle of the country, basically. It's like it's the center of the country. So basically you go from our major cities. I am 150 kilometers from Lisbon, 150 kilometers from Porto. So I'm right here. So sometimes people just stop by because they're going from one to the other, and I'm right here. So they just stop here and we talk. Yeah, that's great. So before we go, I really want to know if if there's any projects you like to talk about, any plans for your business, anything like that, or at least what we can expect to see now that you've decided to be more active on LinkedIn. Are you planning to continue onto this route, or do you think it's not worth it, or how do you feel about your public life situation as far as your business?
So far we feel that it's worth it. We haven't seen since we started recently, we haven't seen the full results yet. They keep saying that you have to be patient on LinkedIn. So
I think
it has already brought us some concrete positive stuff, especially when it comes to colleagues. It has helped us to interact with colleagues more and get to know a lot of colleagues, like set up virtual coffees and stuff like that. So it's been very positive in this way. And so we'll see. We'll keep being active, and see where it gets us.
Time.
Go to other podcasts.
Time consuming.
Sorry, what was
that?
Go
to other podcasts and
exactly.
Present yourselves.
Exactly. And we'll see where it gets us. But we're pretty positive about it. We're pretty optimistic, We'll try to be as much as possible to keep increasing our activity, which is not always easy, you know. But once you get the hang of it, it gets easier once you understand like the formula, you know, how how it works. Because yeah.
You go through phases, I guess. That at least me, they say you have to be consistent,
Exactly.
but I'm like, oh, sometimes not so much. Sometimes yes,
Yeah,
a lot
Yeah,
of posting
you
and
have
a
to
lot
be
of videos.
consistent.
It's hard. I
Yeah,
understand that part.
they keep telling you that you have to be consistent.
Right,
Yeah.
but who says it, right?
That's right.
I guess it's different for everyone. Thank you so much, you guys. This was amazing. I really wanted to talk to you. As you know, I saw your posts and I was like, oh, this is super interesting. Their husband and wife, they work together. I'm sure it's different from most of the people that I usually work with. So this was really exciting. And it was very, very nice to know that you actually live in Verona. I'm very happy that I'm talking to someone who lives there and I've been there.
If you
So
want to come,
that's a
you're
first.
welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
So yes, I might, because I really want to go to Italy. I want to go to the Vatican, right? But I already told everyone, leave me there and leave me alone, because it's like I have to say I'm very drawn to religious art, and I can only imagine what kind of a blast I will have. But people cannot talk to me in those moments because I'll be too focused thinking about the fingers and the toes and, you know, the collar here and the craquelé over there. So I'll be too busy with that. But maybe one of these days I will visit and I would go back to Verona super easily, because it was so nice, so beautiful. And like I say, it was my gate to Italy. So it was an important city. It will always be the first Italian city I've ever seen. So yeah, that's right. Thank you so much,
really
you guys.
happy that you liked it so much.
Yes, I sure did. I sure did. So if you want me there, I'll just go there. If you want to come here, I'm also here. If you want to come.
Oh, definitely. I think we'll definitely
everybody's
go to
coming to Portugal these days. Yeah. So I'm sure you will too.
Definitely. That's I mean, that's definitely a country we want to visit someday, especially since it's in Europe, you know, so it's much easier.
Yeah, come. I have room here at the office, and I have a huge desk like you described. So on the other room, so you can still have it as if you were at your own desk, because it's a huge desk. It fits 5 people. So
wow. Sounds huge.
It's just me, but I have a lot of desks. I have 3 desks. One of them takes 5 people. Well, that's my life.
Wow.
All right, you guys, thank you so much, and I hope we can keep in touch. And if you need anything, I know you're interested in Portuguese and all of that. So if you have any questions, if you have any doubts, if you have any curiosities, then I'll be here for you. And I'll do the same with Italian and French. I'll just go to you. Anything that pops up. Thank you so much, you guys.
Feel free.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. See you very soon.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
See you soon.